Uh, again, we thank all the visitors, those that are alive, that is, and watching our wonderful program that we've been having for quite some time. Technically, we hope a lot of people are watching, but we've taped all of these for programs in the future. We've taped these because the historical educational process. See, in the big future, it's like right now, if you can get hold to extra certain tapes or certain recordings of Malcolm X and one CD or one tape of Dr. King that I heard one Sunday when I was at the U.S. Penitentiary in Leavenworth. And the radio station was a black radio station in Kansas City, and it played Martin Luther King's lecture on Palestine. And it was one of the best lectures I ever heard on Palestine. But at the same time, when I got out, I couldn't find it. And nobody else has been able to find it. I mean, we done punched all the buttons, and I'm going to try to look it up again. Can you punch in and see if you could find Martin Luther King's lecture on Palestine?
I searched for it.
You already searched for it?
Yeah, I'll try again, maybe.
Right. Yeah, Martin Luther King's lecture on Palestine. Put this on so Okay, technically, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, because you want to go on out and pass out some flyers. We really, what it seems like we're doing here is extraordinary. But when you read the Quran, what we're doing is normal for what a Muslim would do. You know, they are those who establish them in the land, establish salat, establish a system for the collection of distribution of zakat. They enjoin the right and they forbid the wrong, and they believe in Allah. That's all normal. Then there's other ayats that deal with the Anbiya, the prophets, and many of the good people throughout history. What they went through is exactly what we're dealing with right here. So, technically, we had to develop a type of struggle that fits our environment, but that goes along with the patterns of religious history. And that's what we've done. What it reminds us of is that we are individual. It reminds us of two things, or more than two things. But if you ever seen a picture of the African baboons, they have a big red behind and big old lips, you know. And when they walking and doing what they do, they behind sticks up in the air. And to us, it looks almost humorous. But to them, it's normal. It's absolute. What are you talking about? This is what baboons do. This is where the same thing with tattletale snitches and the other. To us, they look like baboons. I'm telling you, look. I already have read history, so I got a pretty good idea that nobody's came close to what we've been doing. Not only directly, but over any period of time. That's why we're so grateful and thankful. And when we always talked about longevity, you know what I mean, and protracted warfare, that's exactly what we've been doing. That's what we studied, that's what we understood, that's what we tested, and that's what we implemented. And evidently it was exactly what was needed. Because implementation was evolutionary. At each stage of the struggle, we implemented uh, the challenge or the diversion or whichever stage we was going through. We implemented the strategy, the tactic that would get us through that period. And many cases it was pretty much camouflaged. What I mean to say is this: the whole show, because of our activity, we got involved with the whole show. That includes when we came here to DC, we already had the game, what we call the game. We understood what we was dealing with. So we already had that. So when we came here, we knew what we was looking for. We understood exactly what we was looking for when we got here. No surprise at all. It was a surprise to the people because, number one, where we were going, like where we are now, nobody's gotten there. Nobody has even gotten close. For the movements in the past, I don't care whether you're talking about King, I don't care whether you're talking about Malcolm, I don't care whether you're talking about Booker T. Washington, and I would say one of our best brothers, Marcus Garvey, uh, it was a great movement. But elementary stuff, like the psychological stuff, what we heard was that Marcus Garvey read an article in the newspaper in 1940 that said he had died, and he died. Maybe it was his time to go, I don't know. But that's the way we got it. Did anybody else hear anything about that's technically what happened? But now Marcus Garvey, and especially at his time, he incorporated the biggest number of black people that was ever mobilized specifically to do a certain thing. And since he had never been where he was at, until he got snared in little simple stuff like putting a name on a boat and saying a federal case, it wasn't nothing. Okay. And sabotage. They would do everything to those boats that he bought. Now, you got to remember, he sailed through the Caribbean and he did some sailing in Africa. Now, the thing about Africa, the effect he had, like when you hear Kwame Nkrumah and all of them talk, they talk about who? Marcus Garvey. That man had an effect, and he used to have the Negro world, whatever it was delivered up and down the coast in all of East Africa. I was in East Africa mostly, and in North Africa. They were Arabs, so they wouldn't have. But all the English-speaking people on both sides, on the Indian Ocean side of the Africa and on the West Coast side, West Africa, that newspaper, like Black People in America, used to hang on that. They would wait for the Pullman porters. They delivered the Chicago Fender and other newspapers all throughout the South. They would get loads of them, and they would take them with them throughout the South. And the people would be waiting on them. That's where they got the news of the world. They couldn't get it in the Mississippi Guardian, right, or the Rebel Rouser. They couldn't find nothing in there. And any Negro you saw in those newspapers, so-and-so was caught in the chicken house stealing, Mr. So-and-so's chickens last week. That's what, if it was in the newspaper. Or so many Negroes sent to the chain gang last month. Of course, they didn't even put that type of stuff. But now, so in our time, first of all, we had to study our people and see what was workable. Because, see, a lot of people think that we just haphazardly threw stuff up in the air and it came down just like this is what we're doing. It didn't happen like that. It came from research, study, analysis, implementation, strategic thinking, all of those things. We did all of those things. What's happening here is the result of all of those things. And we come up with certain steps of implementation. And one of us reminds us of when you're out on the open highway at night and a deer or an animal get caught in your headlights, you could see their eyes bright as, they're really bright. And the lights hypnotize them. Half the time you almost have a wreck yourself trying not to kill them. Because there they are, and they're paralyzed by that light, And so that's one of the things that we did with Boss Man here. Not only with Boss Man, but the Negro community and all of their helpers. Okay, look at the Muslim world right now. All the things that's going on, and you go anywhere to any masjid, you don't hear nothing about what we should be doing here. If we harness Islam here, I'm talking about mostly African Americans, because the immigrant don't feel comfortable messing with the American power structure. They don't feel comfortable. In fact, they didn't come here for it. Luckily, they came here and they felt a little lonely and they put a few Muslims together. Back in '63, when they started the Muslim Student Association, that was big. Ahmed Sakr and them started it. When they started the MSA, they started having, a little membership, a few little meetings. When I used to travel around the country in the late 70s and the early 80s, the way you would find out where the Muslims are, you would look in the phone book and see if you had the Muslim names, then you would call them and ask them, where is the masjid? Where is the Islamic center in this town? Some people would laugh. I did the same thing in Mexico City back in the 70s. I was down there. Technically, I was on a vacation. Salatul Juma came. I took my family down there. So I said, I called a few people, looking the same like he had a phone book. And I talked to one guy. He was Egyptian. He laughed. Salatul Juma? But you go down there now, they rolling with, there's a whole crew of Mexicans that have come to Islam during that period. There's Muslims in Colombia. Some of the crews up here are really close to them, and I feel sorry for the Muslims in Colombia. Their Shia community, and I know the Shia community here. Of course, there's some Sunnis, but I was in Colombia doing a whole different thing. The world was different. The world have turned over. The point I'm making is that what happened to us is like we have trapped the system in the headlights of history. They're paralyzed. Like right now, they're paralyzed. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. And they have been trapped to the point that the lights, you can see their eyes. You can see, hey man, that's why the talk today is about, what did I call it? The baboon, the baboon effect. The baboon effect, because see the people here, if you were to take this area, when I came here, they had just kind of crushed the Islamic Party, and they were down in the islands in different places, and Brother Abdul Haq used to come back every now and then. After a while, he came back, and he would hang here. In discussing with him, everything that happened to them was things that they didn't understand what was happening to them. Like if they bought a lot of cabs and they had cars parked outside, people would break into them all the time. So that would make them discouraged about the Negro. We're here to help them, and they breaking into all our cabs. And well, when we was over on 8th Street, when we was over here, they used to break in. They was on a roll over there. The reason I leave my cars open right now because I stopped locking the cars because parked on that hill, it was Negroes walking by all the time. Some of them were just Negroes, but some of them were police. And sometime I'd come out the door and I'd see somebody running down the hill, that little house next door we used to work out in. You go down the steps and you look right there. All your weights is right there. Somebody was there to steal your weights. Well, those Negroes wasn't there to steal no weights so they could work out. They were just thieves that wanted to do stuff. That big, thick, nice carpet that we had in the book room over there, that was a carpet we had bought for the whole place. But they took it up, and then when we went on a little trip, come back, all that carpet was gone. We had to buy a new. The only part that had left was that part in the bookstore. That nice, thick. You could spill something on it, it won't go in it. It's just top of the line carpet. That was what we bought for the whole place. In the meantime, when we came here, I used to meet with the Negroes here sometime, and maybe they didn't understand that I understood where I was. And I would be telling some of them, the ones everybody know, they were from the Southeast. Then they was out in Gaithersburg with the Iranians. They followed them out there. Of course, I would know that they followed the Iranians out there. That was their job. They were Sunnis and they became Shia. A lot of them worked in the Daftar. The Iranians finally got smart and fired all of them, except when I got here, was 2 still working there. One was Salahuddin and the other was, what's the name that teach Arabic? Hussein. Hussein would clean the toilets and stuff like that. Now, it's no big deal. Like I told in a lecture hall about that time, I said, I would clean toilets in there for free. I said, we do it all the time. All the work, we used to talk a lot, but we did mostly work too. So I said, I would clean them for free, but I wouldn't take no salary. You know, you're going to do the Islamic movement like this. You guys are going to clean the toilets and we're going to administrate this. I said, oh no, I wouldn't do that. I said, for free? Oh shoot, I cleaned it all around here. I did all, well, you know, that was a time when technically I did, I remember I was cooking for Eid and all that good food, I was cooking it on a hot plate. I don't know, a hot plate, man, all that good food. It might take a half a month to do. No, but I cooked all of that on a hot plate. It's all right, but I did it. So one of the guys that used to do all the fancy work, he said, my wife has all these stoves and all that push button stuff. And he was saying that, man, that's really something to prepare all of that food on a hot plate. You know, well, it had two eyes. I mean, you know, so I mean, and anyway, the point about catching people in the headlights of history is you drive and you hit the bright lights and their eyes, their behavior just lights up. Everybody is who there. That's an animal. You don't want to hit it. You don't want to run over it. So you'll put your life in jeopardy trying to miss, you know, the animal. And in dealing with the Negroes, it was so easy. Well, let me back up. When we came here, we was in the middle of difficulty and ease. We went through most of the real difficulty in California. When we came here, it was Brother Tufel and I used to talk. The stuff that used to happen was like a trifling annoyance. The Quran refers to it as a trifling annoyance. In other words, they would steal this, steal that. If you had your keys to a car you didn't bought, they'd steal that. You know, they would do all this stuff to, for whatever they reason they had. A lot of time, maybe they just wanted to wear somebody down. You know, it didn't work then. It's definitely not working now. It ain't even getting close to working. Okay. So let me get back to the main part of the dissertation because we got to hit the road and go out to the IEC. Trapped in the headlights of history. This movement here, it reminds me of an animal trapped in the headlights. And also the baboon. The baboon walks with his butt up in the air and his big old lips. And to him, this is normal, right? He don't look in a puddle of water and say, man, you got big old lips and you got your butt stick. To him, that's the way he walks. It's normal. That's the same. The reason I use that is because the baboon effect is the effect that we have had on the movement. And it's the baboon effect. It's the headlights of history. Everybody look like baboons. You just look and you said, dog, man, what about, you asked the question, What do they do to y'all? What do they do? I mean, do they have some bzzz, or do they scare you? Or what do? This is a big question that you have to think about the movement. Now, I didn't bring it. It was a commentary from the Quran. But it talks about all the people of the past and the things that they went through. But there's something with self-identity also. When you try to put all this together, it comes up like this. Trapped in the headlights of history, that people that they send out to get you is so repetitive, it's so redundant that you could see, it's just all this stuff. It don't make no difference what people think. That's what it looks like. It's so repetitive. And then this could have been identified in Jahiliyyah. Because if you're thinking and you get on up there in Jahiliyyah, the stuff that boss man used on you and the dean, he used the same stuff in Jahiliyyah. The COINTEL program was not just for black people, it was for Muslims, it was for movement. Anybody that wanted to do anything. White, black, it doesn't make any difference. AIM, the American Indian movement, it didn't make no difference. It was for the human potential movement. This is how you break them down. This is how you destroy them. And we decided to use humor because when we looked at everybody, we had to make an analysis. Why did they stop? And we look at people that we didn't even consult in those days, like Paul Robeson. The movement could have did itself a lot of good by talking with him, because he had went through that whole process. Now, he died in 1976. So by the time he died, he had went through all the psychological mumbo jumbo, and he had evolved. He had changed. They show clips of when he's singing Old Man River, tired of living, afraid of dying, but Old Man River. By the time at the end of his life, he keep on fighting, you know what I mean, and what have you, and he ain't afraid of living, and he ain't scared of dying. But it's time to keep on fighting, that type of thing. They put him in the crazy, how they see this thing about being cut off from your people and cut off from the struggle. They eventually, if you're into that, you will begin to self-isolate and all type of stuff. So he chose a let's call it a white concept, communism, which was for workers, which wasn't bad in those days. And our other brother, Hubert Harrison, he died in 1927. They considered he was too black. See, we have to look at all the people. We looked at Dr. King. We looked at Malcolm X. We looked at everybody to see. When we went to Africa, we studied all of what where the Mau Maus went, where everybody went, what happened to. We was able to forecast what was happening in South Africa because we was all over. and we saw what they're gonna do. Like they was bragging, we're gonna build 5 million homes, in South Africa. And I don't know if anybody heard it. I said, oh no, you ain't gonna build no 5 million. It ain't gonna work. They were nice little, they'd put a cement slab out and they would put a nice little 2-bedroom house on it. They were nice. But they wasn't gonna get no 5 million of them. They would have been lucky if they got 1 million. Because the signs were already there that which way they were headed. We had saw the rest of Africa. We knew South Africa would do better. But look at South Africa right now. South Africa technically is just like the U.S. South Africa is the only African country I went to where, well, not me, but other people, their diet, diarrhea, like going to Mexico, Montezuma's disease, revenge, they call it. My whole family, when they went to Mexico with me, they all was laid up. We was in Mazatlan for a while. They was laid up most of the time. It had no effect on me. Not to change the subject, but when I was going to Machu Picchu, that's 15,000. No, I had left Cusco going to Machu Picchu. Now, traveling at that height, that's about 15,000 feet up. And it takes all day to get there. On the side of when the train stops to pick people up, there's people with stuff on their heads selling, or people reaching up to the train selling fruit and different things that they eat down there. So there was a white lady on the train with me, and I bought a fruit. To this day, I don't remember what it was. I didn't know it was a tropical fruit. It was down there, fruit. Chirimoya or something. Are you going to eat that? This is the white lady. I said, yeah, of course I'll eat it. That's why I bought it. If I eat that, I would be, diarrhea and everything. I said, well, I eat it. Yeah, that was fine. My body was adjusted to. I just never got that stuff when I traveled. It was something about when we lived in East Africa, especially down in Dar es Salaam. That's the tropics, and it's like this masjid would be full of animals, lizards, and everything. Just you couldn't get rid of them. In fact, you wouldn't want to get rid of them because they gonna eat her. They keep the place clean. And when you're walking by a tree, you see big lizards running all up and down the tree and stuff like that, And so everybody there was getting amoebas, stomach stuff, And I never got nothing. And I drank the water, and I lived just like her. And I thought about it after I left. I said, man, I was born in Arkansas, and I used to live right off the bayou. And all that stuff that they have over there in the summer, they have it in Arkansas and Louisiana. All them bayous and mosquitoes. Like right now, if we out back in the summer, my family get ate alive by mosquitoes. I don't get bit by them. And they stay mad. I said, there's nothing I can do. One of my friends, Dr. John Branyan, y'all might have read about him a little bit. Dr. John Branyan. He was kind of curly-headed. He had that Negroid that upper class Negro look from the old days. I mean, educated in Lausanne, Switzerland, the chief resident at Chicago he lived in Chicago for a long. Uh, he was Johnson Publications friend. All of them, that crew, that was his crew. And so we was in a hotel. It was a Wenatchee hotel. Right across the street was over here. Over there was a New Africa. Over there was other big hotel. Kilimanjaro was over here at the hotel. New Africa was right down the street. Those were big hotels like Hilton, owned them and stuff like that. But we lived in a Wenatchee hotel. That's maybe it's still there even. But it was old hotel from way back during British colonial times, and it was by that time it was the people's type hotel. So it didn't have air conditioning; it had a fan and stuff like that, and no elevators. It only had one floor. They did serve tea at 4 o'clock every day. You was gonna get tea because it was a British colony, so that's the way that went. So one night I was the next morning when we got up, Doc had big webs all on him from the mosquitoes. He said, "I hate you. I hate you." I said, "Dog, Doc, you hate the brother? I mean, you got to give me some reason why last night you were just sleeping and purring, and I was under the net. You was out from under the net. You didn't use no net. You didn't even use the net. And you never got bit. I watched you by these mosquitoes." I said, "Doc, maybe you smell better, taste better, you attract them." And that's what happened with my family. I said, "Y'all are tasty. Does anybody want to bite me?" I said, "I don't know what it is, but it's a type of immunity. And it has something to do with some type of sickle cell may repel certain, I don't know. Anyway, so that's been life. But anyway, back to trapped in the headlights of history. Ever since we've been here, when we came here, we knew basically. I would say we definitely knew what we was going to deal with when we got here because we know what we had survived in Oakland. And here they threw everything, including the kitchen sink, at us. And it didn't work. All the people, Margbag America had coached everybody into this. All the other people, then the phone tree attack by the sisters, like at that time, if you didn't give a fatwa that the sisters lacked, they'd phone tree your behind, boy, and you couldn't get around. And, but they jumped on poor Imam Musa, and they was on the roll. I said, "I don't care what you do. I ain't going for it." And when you withstand that, you're getting pretty tough. But the thing is like one of the ladies, one of the main ones, used to be married to a brother that owned a bookstore out there. And in later years, she put the word out on me. Imam Musa did this about the marriage and that, another, which I technically didn't have nothing to do with. So they had, at that time, we was over on 8th Street, they had a sheikh up in one of them African sheikhs, head of one of the big movements over there. I'll tell you the name of the movement. We all know it. And so she went up to New York to get him, and he came back down here to give her a fatwa on marriage. You know that the guy can't get another wife and all that. He said, "You have no case." Yeah, that's what he did. And he did it in that African English sounding, "No case. You have no case." I said, well, that's the way that go. But the point was, you had to have an independent mind because they sick everybody on you. They load up the bases and then they pull back. They pull everybody back. They don't know that you've been through that one before. And the beautiful thing about prison and being a mess up, you always went to the hole. And the hole was you being there by yourself. So all the stuff that they do, you're already conditioned for it. You're not, so what? Everybody's on a trip. One thing you learn in the hole, can't nobody come get you out. They can put you in there by snitching on you or something, but they can't come get you out and they can't do nothing for you. And they're not going to be there with you. And when you stand up for everybody and that penitentiary bus come, you're going to be on it. They're going to transfer your behind. And ain't nobody else going to be on it because everybody just like if you part of a union, yeah, we going to talk to the boss this way. And we want you to talk to him. You the shop foreman. And you go in there talking, boss man, and you look around and say, now, ain't that right, everybody? They're looking all up in the air, tying their shoes, right? And you done stuck your foot in it. After so many times, that's normal. That don't bother you. You thrive on that. You learn, you teach yourself to thrive on that. So I'm going to speed it up here. The people here, the people in Oakland, you got to understand, just a quick view. All the masajid that we had, let's say at one time, we've had 10, but just say 8, full functioning, full of people, right? And everybody is going through their thing. And then after a while, they all gone. In fact, Ahmed Shama came here 12 years later after they had backed up and asked me, what do we do? They was trying to see if I was still, kind of, what do we do with our bay? I said, hell if I know. 12 years? I said, you was on our property at that time in 2008 when I was talking to the police, telling them to get off our property and do. And you saw what was going on. I haven't seen you since then. And now here you are. In other words, I don't care what you do with your bayah. You mean like allegiance to me? Go give it to Abdul. I didn't tell her that. Go give it to Abdul Malik or somebody. That's who you've been inviting all over. Because they think that acceptance, man, that peer group pressure should be a crime because 98% of the time it works on people. You're going to be alone. You're going to be by yourself. That includes your crew. It includes everybody. I don't care, everybody, and they're on that team. That's how we trapped everybody in history. It's like they wore uniforms that said Boss Man's team. All name tags, all stuff right across, just like down at Times Square, stuff go tick, 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 the news right across there. That's the way everybody, when they walk in, tick, 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 it's right across the head. Okay. I say all that to say, uh, Martin Luther King had a dream in 1963. By 1967 and 68, it turned into a nightmare. If y'all ever heard of this stuff. The thing, and he tried to start in Chicago. We was doing that in Oakland at the same time. We technically started in 1968. By 1970, it was on a roll. When they looked around at us, they'd already been dealing with the party, and they said, we got to wrap that up. So mid-year, I just said, well, y'all can have America. Because the white man, he had the judges, the lawyers, the police, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and he still got and all the judges, and he still got to cheat. I said, dog, boss man, you got all of that and you still cheating? You know what I mean? I said, no, 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 no. I just left. That was a wonderful decision. So when you leave, you get a chance to air out and you learn and you realize what you're really doing and how that fit. There's a worldwide transition going on. Where do you fit into that? Right? And you get that picture. Okay. So tonight we'll go out. IEC, did you bring some flyers with you? The one. Good, good, good. Some of these right here. Very good, very good. We'll just go out there and put them on the car and stuff like that. Uh, Basically, what I want to say is this: this is like we made baboons out of the system. That's just the way it is. We have, and we're gonna do a bigger job of making bigger baboons out of them. This go round, it's gonna be even funnier. It's gonna be hilarious. I say that because they don't show signs of repentance or none of the functionaries. Like today is the 12th, 13th. Okay, I was supposed to be coming back from California today because I was supposed to leave on the 9th, zip down to Texas, zip out to California, and then zip back here. Yeah, because this is Thursday. We'd get back here and we'd be ready for tomorrow. But now I know the guys from Iran that's be watching this. They're the ones that started that MSJ4 or something. They started it. Yeah, they started it. Muslims for Justice. Yeah, they started that one. And uh, they are who they are. So, and been who they are. So the guy come back, or he had been here for several months, something like that. So he called me maybe a month ago. Oh, how you doing? Oh, da, 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 da. So you want us to get you a ticket, you come down here, then you go out there. But after listening to a couple of programs, he didn't want to, he pretended like he didn't watch him, but of course he's going to watch him. Anyway, to make a long story short, dear believers, We're in a new phase. If anybody thinks someone is tired or afraid or uncomfortable, they just stupid. That's all I can say. What we're doing now, I like this. I like it, and and we're doing it in a way to where I wanted the ayat, but the ayat basically talk about, um, you know, you choosing your process or methodology, and it talks about. So this, what we're doing right now, is what a comeback 2022 looks like for DC and Oakland. For DC and Oakland, and whatever is, we'll be back. We on the way now. Uh, because the last couple of go rounds, the farther we go back, the less it. The last go round, uh, it was an exhibition match. Exhibition. Okay, you might think, well, man, if you spend $500,000 at least on the school, everybody left, and yeah, but that's what they were scheduled to do. You got it on the list. They're going to wave bye-bye. And when they wave bye-bye, they're going to blame it all on you. Like, we're not here because of you, right? And they're going to have a whole, and it don't make no difference. You can't bring them back or invite them back. I ain't never asked another, hey, wouldn't you just come back for a while? Or just to be, heck no, you feel like a goodbye, you know. And yeah, so basically, we got to carry water for all the people, for MLK, for Malcolm, for people back way before our time that had a vision of something better for the people. And they just didn't make it. Some of the people have been put in crazy houses, some people in jail, some people just died of a broken heart. They just died of a broken heart. And some of the people wasn't prepared for their people turning on them. Well, if you come up through the criminal world and you used to being in prison riots, and in prison riots they always send somebody out to negotiate with boss man, and then everybody turn their back on them. It's common. And I used to do it all the time. Reeves, you go and tell old boss man, da 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 da. Oh, well, I sure will. And you look around, and isn't that right, brothers? And you look at, so well, the brothers is gone, and you're in the hole. That's okay. It happens all. And when you go to the hole, when you study your life, the best place for you was in the hole. Because if you would have got out when you were scheduled to get out, you already knew what you would have went out doing, and it wasn't this. Everything happened at exactly the same time. Even misguidance. When my friends misguided me from working on a nice job, not a nice job, any job was nice in those days, just working. And, just young, and the police had them influence me to start selling marijuana. And I did. And I learned almost everything that I talk about, I learned it in that. And that evolved into a very treacherous game. I got out just before it got real treacherous. Like now it's just unbelievable. But I got out when it was still humane, but it was pretty serious. It was, you had to be, you wasn't going to get lucky and get by. You had to teach you about life, to teach you about the game. And I remember in 83 in Oakland, Abdul Malik was going to San Francisco State. I think he was a school president or something over there. And he'd come over to the Masjid sometime. He'd say, yeah, when we was still working. He'd say, yeah, so you got to think like a pimp, you know. And I looked at him. Well, you know, he's a nice guy. They have the girlfriends and the curly hair. You know, that's what they do. But he didn't have no game. And he's telling, he'd have got all those people, they would have drugged them down the street in 2 weeks if they'd been messing with Honey Bear and the Ward brothers and all of them gangster Negroes. They wouldn't last 30 days. That's why they was the police, because they would take the power of the police and then they would be like Mukhtar, the way he was thinking. The police is going to give me power to challenge the guy that everybody respects and they're afraid of him and they honor him. And I'm going to have the right to do this, that, and he did it. And I just looked at him like, yeah. And everybody else looked at him too. And so I just told him, no, leave him alone. Even today, he's one of them baboons with his butt sticking up in the air. Right? Abdul Malik's butt sticking up in the air. Sister Bahia and them, and family, everybody, they butt sticking up in the air. They butt sticking up in the air, and when they got caught in the headlights of history, they didn't know what to do. They was paralyzed. Then Boss Man tell them what to do. And you could tell Boss Man is telling them what to do, because they move just like Boss Man tell them, right? And you could tell them when they have more input and when they have less input. When we had the thing, what was we calling it? Around 2005 in Oakland. We was calling Oakland Clearinghouse. Oakland was a clearinghouse. Abdul Malik was the chief. And peripheral vision is when you can look at somebody and they think you're looking straight ahead. We'd be riding in the car and he'd be looking right upside my head like, yeah, I said, that's fine, that's fine. So it got to a point he technically thought I was stupid. That's the trap. Because when you think like that, you're going to get looser and looser and looser. And that's what they did. They got looser and looser, the whole team. And they launched serious traps. And none of them worked. They didn't work. They didn't work because they didn't understand that everything that they considered human, you might have grown through that. And they was thinking, this is a trap that would work on me. You know, like girls. It'll work on me. Well, when Sister Bahia and I got married, he had to call and said, just trust me. Please, just trust me. It's okay. I trust you. You know, I thought he had something. Maybe he going to come around the side like I had suggested he do. He didn't come around the side. He came straight up the white man's line, and I just said, there comes the white man's line, and everybody with it, you know. And so I appreciate it because there's no conflict of interest. There's no hidden agendas. Everything is right out in the open. And the reason I'm talking about this is because uh, this is a different phase, and I'm pulling for the home team. I hope the home team, you know, like switch sides. You know, everybody believes and knows that Boss Man is headed down, but to jump off Boss Man's boat is very difficult for everybody. So all the people have to do is find a way. If I can jump halfway off and come back every now and then, or hold on to a rope, or get in a rowboat that's pulled by the big boat. All I'm saying is, one thing about it, the forecasted history and future is happening right in front of our eyes. And it may be a surprise to Boss Man and others. It ain't no surprise to us. Okay, so I'll move to a close with this. If we want to go down the street with big old lips sticking up and behind, or big red shiny behind, that's okay. It's normal for baboons. That's the way baboons go. That's what they do. They're baboons. But niggas ain't baboons unless they volunteer. By the way, did y'all hear the news they got a pig's heart that they can put in a man now? That's something. I wonder what's the ruling gonna be? Because ain't no Muslim said nothing yet. Like you can't put, Imam Jamil just said, you can't have two hearts in one man. You know, it's either the heart of Allah, the clean heart, or the... Anyway, so I don't think the Muslims going to go for that pig's heart. Maybe how about a monkey's heart? They put for niggas, it costs 98%. You know, monkeys and orangutans, they're 98% human, right? You know what I mean? All the genes and everything. So it's a bigger jump from a pig to a human. Why they don't just, and they was experimenting with that. I forget what happened. Why don't they put monkeys' hearts in? If a monkey's heart will fit in a nigga, and he won't even know, they won't have to even give him no suppressant medicine, you know, the way to suppress it, because it's a monkey, and the nigga's a monkey. Hey, shoot, I believe them. Hey, man, they might be 99.zoo the same. Yeah, I believe that no, the niggas can't get no monkey's heart. I mean, the Muslims can't get no pig's heart. But a monkey's heart, I believe, won't have to do nothing. Just, you could snatch it out and stuff it in there and it'll work. Snatch it out of the monkey and put it in the Negro. This is my belief. And it'll just kick in, pumping. Okay, next time I'm going to talk about what a comeback looks like. Itemize. What is this going to look like? So what we did is what fit us. Nobody thought that this would be turned into a comedy because this the stuff is so serious that people be mad or they be, you know. But if Allah give you something, you use what Allah give you. Hilarity and the ability to be redundant over and over and over again. And that redundancy gonna catch everybody. It's gonna kick us just redundant, and then they're not gonna see it. Nobody is so redundant, right? You know, you're looking right at it, and nobody sees it. It's so redundant, at each time there's only 0.9% difference in one redundancy and another, and they can't see it. Okay, are there any questions or comments? Okay, so what we got for the schedule is, okay, so look like we just won't do Juma here today. Tomorrow we'll just put a sign down there. You and I can go back out to way out there and wherever that is. Yeah, and then next week though we'll go to Dar al Hijra because they've been pretty now. Uh, Here's what we're gonna do. Where would you like to go tomorrow?
I went to the Dianet Center yesterday. Remember I said I was going to go and see what,
Right. What were they talking about?
of course, there's no handing out papers on their property,
Mm.
but they have a cultural center where you can leave information, and then where the building where they have
Could you turn the heat on just a little bit? Go ahead.
where they have June,
Right.
where they have Salat. I'm thinking there's also a stand where you can put stuff there, so when people go into Musella,
But you can't pass nothing out. Okay. So and Masjid Muhammad was
Masjid, well, Masjid Muhammad it's I think they probably have about 100 people out there. What happened with us was that I would like to go back out there because I didn't take flyers in the first time, with me.
right.
So I'm thinking we're gonna come back out,
Right.
go to the car, grab them,
Right.
hand them out. And so brother kind of took a while. So by the time I got the flyers,
Right.
so
Now what we can do is you can go to the one out there that we go to out there. Way out New Hampshire. Huh?
Jamal said he more than likely would probably be able to go.
Good, good. Well, he can go. Y'all could go out to the where we get out way out. Yeah, MC, whatever they call it, MCC. We go to MCC now. Next week we'll go for the DC Masjid. I can go because I can put enough water in my car. I can go down to Masjid Muhammad. See, so maybe a week after next, you you could recycle through there, and you could do flyers and what have you at MCC, and like we're gonna go out here where we was, you know. Okay, but next week we'll go over to here, PGMA. Yeah, but at night I can go over to PGMA and pass out flyers so that when we go back over there, everybody will be already. The point I'm trying to make is we're gonna ideally we're gonna go somewhere like first, like we're gonna go out and drop these flyers off tonight. We'll put them on the car, lab, da da da. We'll be back next week though with boxes. You see what I mean? So we want to go to MCC now because people kind of know us already, enough of them. So, but we'll go during prayer time, these other times, see, like at least 2 or 3 nights a week, at least myself and whoever want to go with me, we'll be able to drop flyers off. So we're gonna hit them with flyers. Even if we've been there once, we're gonna be back. So this week at MCC, if we hit them this go round tomorrow, and if we hit out there, and we don't have nobody to do Juma, so we just won't do Juma. That's all. Yeah, we just won't do it. When we get the team spirit together, then we'll. So you'll be able to get, huh? Okay, and we'll go out where we went before. Okay, are there any comments about? So that's the format we'll use from now till next month. Next month will be Black History Month, so we'll upgrade it a little bit, you know. But remember, all of this is just getting the job done, but, testing and trying. And remember, those boxes is our only income right now. We don't, because remember, we're going to use our buildings, our property, for institutional purposes. Yeah, we're not going to rent them out. We're not going to do that. They will all be a functional institution. So when you come around here in a year's time, there will be functional, institutional stuff going on. Yeah. We're in no hurry, but that's what we're going to do, inshallah. And basically, there's nothing they can do about it. When I say there's nothing they can do about it, they have to make it possible for you to do it. Because if they don't, you might get some real people. Hey, shoot. See, no, that's part of the movement, that you know what you got, because it's a threat. Like, it's just fun and games, but hey. So they have to put people out there, and so you manage them. That's just it's not a sad thing, it's a good thing, because other people didn't evolve. They would be mad at the people. You low down tattletales, and all that dumb stuff. No. You have to learn how to like, collaborators and tattletales. You learn how to like them. That's the only people you're going to be around anyway, so you might as well, right? If what we're surrounded by is real, if that's real, that's the way it is. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's great. I want my personal business, so boss man, I don't want him in my business. Personal business is Islam. And you got more sense than boss man. That's something that they're not used to. They're not used to the Negro having more sense through trial and through working and through studying. Research, regular research that you acquire. If you're a professor in archaeology, something other, for 50 years, you're going to have more sense generally than an equivalent professor that has 10 years experience. So if you have 50 years experience with all of this, you're going to, and they can't tire you out, they can't weigh you down, because you know how to rest. When you come out swinging, you done already rested. I done had to rest. I don't work and rest. And they don't realize, well, they should. If they haven't realized that we're gonna teach your boss man, he should have been better. Yeah, we teach boss man. He just been bad. Boss man has been bad, and we're gonna teach him he should be better. Yeah, it's our job. That's our responsibility to teach him. Nobody else is teaching. The Russians can't teach him nothing, right? He ain't paying no attention to them. He want to go to war with them. Well, he playing like he want to go to war. And this is the last thing I'm gonna close with. When we was kids, they used to scare us to death with atomic bombs, and they'd have in a newspaper every other day a diagram like the city of Oakland and what a 5 megaton bomb will do to Oakland. And they have those circles inside. And it scare you to death. Not this go round. Boss man, you talking all that, you in Russia, you want to fight? I dare you. Put a chip on it. I dare you. Knock it off, sucker. If you that stupid, go ahead. Knock it off. Yeah. We play, you were talking about China. I don't know whether y'all all working together, because after you get up so far, you start giving each other signals. And everybody thought in the past, Russia and America was, you to go, if you're in Nicaragua, if the Americans go against you, then you're going to go and get the Russians or the Cubans as your friends, right? And that's the way they did the whole world. So if America was against Vietnam, we have to go get the Chinese or we go get the Russians. And they was both helping Vietnam, right? Yeah. So right now, Russia is talking about, well, if you're going to mess around with the other white folks over there, huh? Yeah. Khrushchev was from Ukraine. Everybody Ukraine, almost half the people was from Ukraine or Georgia. So now they're talking about, well, Russia said, well, if you get out of line, we'll just go and move over to Cuba and then move to Venezuela. If you're talking about getting up next to somebody, yeah. In fact, they're talking about it now. We might just move to Cuba at 90 miles away, And we're not talking about bringing no atomic weapons, but they have so much stuff they won't need no, right? Yeah, so all that stuff, if they ain't got enough sense, I'm not going to waste my life being scared of them killing themselves. But one thing, we should gain charge of what we're doing. Because who wants to trust that idiot? He's an idiot. An idiot. Is there anything that anybody wanted to?
I know the brother Sabiqun broadcast today.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
Good. Huh?
He said his name.
Yeah.